our thoughts and see if these thoughts are real or not real. When we discriminate our thoughts, when we see our thoughts, like I take one thought from my mind. My mind is a cluster of thoughts. Thousands and thousands of thoughts together is called a mind. So I take just one thought from there and put it in microscope. Like, the scientists they do, the biologists they do. They take something out of, one portion of that and then they examine it. So when we examine the thought very closely, then we see that these thoughts are a mixture of two things. One is object and the other is subject. Object means something which is not me is object. Something which is not myself is called object. And that object comes to my awareness. Isn't it? I have a thought. I have a thought about this. So when I have a thought about this, that means that thought has come to my awareness. That thought has come to my notice. So how did this awareness come? This awareness came because though the thought contains an object, it also contains subject in that. And that subject is called consciousness. That means a thought is a mixture of object and subject. There is matter and consciousness. What is matter? Matter is not stone or metals that we know. Matter means anything which we are not. Anything which I am not. So when you see your thoughts, all your thoughts, you will see that actually you are dealing with everything that you are not. There is no thought which talks about your own self, your own existence, your own identity. Every thought comes with the object of something which is separated from you, something which you are not. So that which I am not is called matter. Okay, and that matter comes into my notice, and that is why it has got a subject. So in case of Jnana Yoga, that is the path of knowledge, it is taught how to separate from the subject and the object. Like when we meditate, we are saying that be an observer. Be an observer of your thoughts. And when you become an observer of your thoughts, even for a split second, then you see that you start to feel peace. Now, when you become the observer, how do you feel the peace? Within second, it happens just like 1 second or 2 seconds or very like fraction of a second. I can become an observer. Again, because of my tendency, I again come back to the thoughts. But the moment I become the observer, the first thing that I notice is a space, is a big space within, and peace. So how does this peace come, or how does this space come? Because at that time, in that fraction of second, I could distinguish the object and the subject for a very, 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 very negligible time. And that is why I could do it. I felt myself, and that self is space, expansion, infinite. That space, that self is peace. And as you can increase the time being an observer, not being attached to the objects, not being attached to the thoughts, as you can increase the time, you will see that not only peace, you have started to feel bliss, ananda, that is, happiness, joy. That joy which does not have any cause. We are all happy because of some reason, isn't it? There is a reason to be happy. But here the happiness is causeless. It doesn't have any reason. It just comes. That means this happiness is already within me, unexplored, unknown. So when I start to become the observer, when I can observe the thoughts, then I see that I find myself to be an expanded existence, bigger than what I knew about myself. And as I go deeper into this state of observation, then I see that I not only stay in the body, but I transcend this body. I am bigger than this body. I am everywhere. I can feel myself in the body and outside. Like when we see outside, when you are seeing the sky, then we see sky, isn't it? We see a sky. When you can separate yourself from your thoughts, then you will see exactly the same sky within and outside. And these two skies is not different, it's the same thing. This body or this mind or this ego that we possess, this is just a mask, nothing else. It's just a mask of that reality. Reality is within me. I have never seen the reality, I only see the mask. I see the mask and I think that this mask is me. But as I keep on with this observation, then I see that I am not this mask, this mind, body, intellect, ego, name, form, world, whatever I say, these are only the masks and nothing else. The reality is always beyond that, within that, and I am that. And slowly, at one time, I go and become one with that consciousness. This state where I become one with that consciousness is called enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Enlightenment means this small peace that you are getting, this small bliss, this small happiness that you are having in meditation. At one time, you will recognize that this is not my peace. I am that peace. I am that absolute peace. But means when I have realized this peace, this will never become chaotic. It will always remain peace. I have discovered that absolute peace within me. Means I have discovered that peace which never changes, unchangeable. The religion that India follows, here, most of the Indian follow, is not Hindu religion. It was earlier called Sanatan Dharma. What is this word Sanatan means? Sanatan means something which cannot change. It's the same. Changeless. So why Sanatan? Because at that time, these people who were following this religion called Sanatan Dharma, they were dwelling with a subject which is changeless, which does not change, which is the self, which is the consciousness. Why it does not change? Because it is infinite. Where will it change? How will it change? Because it is infinite and it is one. It is one, it is not two. There is no space for it to change. There is no scope for change. That is, it is called Sanatan. So when I go deeper into the state of meditation, or when I focus on the words of the master who have already realized the self,